Today on Veterans Stand Up, we're talking about support for struggling veterans with David Walker, the CEO of the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes. Well, David, the coalition provides a range of support. I'm going to talk to some of the leaders later this week. But why don't we start by you giving us the mission and briefly some of the programs.
Well, thank you, Paul, for the opportunity to be here. Coalition to Salute America's Heroes provides to our combat wounded veterans on the post 9/11 direct emergency financial aid. What that means is men and women call in, like they're even doing right now, and use words like repossess, foreclose, evict. What we do on average is pay $1,500, $1,600 to keep them on a roof, keep the utilities on, keep the heat on, keep the food on the table, and we do that so we don't hear another set of words like suicide, abuse, homelessness, divorce. What we're going to see later in the week from my colleagues are a lot of the programs to fulfill those areas in a direct way.
Yeah. Now, a lot of organizations, nonprofits, call and ask me to donate to help veterans. Okay, how do I know who's any good?
Very good question. There's 40,000 veteran service organizations out there. Very opaque, isn't it? Mm-hmm. In terms of the number of groups that are eligible to receive the investment from the donors. Very difficult. Some are new initiatives. Some have been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. The best way to look at it, where's your heart? Where are the needs today? That's who you want to support. When we talk about September, we're talking about Suicide Awareness Month, right? When you look at the needs of our combat wounded veterans particularly, which is what we're talking about today, mental health issues. Then when you're looking at other issues like employment, transition into the workforce, right? Those are all very important areas today. That's what you want to look at.
Now, how about some numbers or some information I should be examining to understand the effectiveness of the organization?
Well, when you look at the effectiveness of an organization, first and foremost, if you're a donor looking in, look at how transparent that group is. Do they post their 990s to the website? Do they post an audit? Do they even have an audit? Do they post their annual report on their website? How transparent are they? One way to do that is to look at the website, but also give those groups a call. Secondly, when you look at the quantitative nature of what it is that an organization does and how they do it, what metrics do they use to suggest their effectiveness? It could be net income. It could be meeting the standards and the compliance, most importantly, with accounting standards and or the various charity rating groups that are out there. And then look at the qualitative aspects. What do the veterans say about that organization? Look at their Facebook page. Look at their social media. Look at what the user is having had by way of a fulfilled experience, an experience with satisfied need. In the case like us, when we provide direct emergency financial aid, the most satisfying part are those testimonials that come back that are, volunteered. They come directly from the veteran to suggest their effectiveness, their experience with us, which is also one of the most important effective measurements of an organization's success.
Sure. Yes. So using that criteria, how does the coalition fare?
We fare quite well, actually, and it's always a challenge, particularly when you're on the radar of charity ratings groups. In our case, we had the honor a couple years back to be listed as one of the top organizations by the Better Business Bureau. We were the top 27, right there with the USO, right there with Gary Sinise, right there with household names. We had always belonged there. We always weren't there. We met 18 of 20 points at 1 year, 19, and now we have the full 2020, and we've been running 6 years in a row as one of the tops within the Better Business Bureau's evaluations. Great nonprofits. There's a number of groups out there that evaluate organizations, but as the best marker, the individual donor wants to take a real good look and give the benefit of the doubt to the organization, because not one size fits all. A lot of organizations that are very good may have actually just begun because they're fulfilling the needs of today, but they don't have some of the established metrics that a charity ratings group may be looking at. So it's up to the donor to really look inside, open the hood to that organization and take a look inside. The more long-standing organizations, the more venerable organizations, They have a lot of metrics that have been out there and have been demonstrated over the course of years by charity ratings groups as well as other groups as well.
So if a veteran's listening to this and wants to support the coalition, how do they do that?
How do they do that? The best way they can do it is go to saluteheroes.org for the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes. They can go in and they can donate if they so choose. But one of the best ways they can do is get the information out about a group like the organization, like the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes. We have a veteran service, a veteran circle group that is made up of thousands of combat wounded veterans, spouses, and their caregivers, and they can become part of that, become part of our legion, become part of our movement, if you will, to get the word out and to do the networking, and also then to get the services that the organization provides as well.
Mm-hmm. And you began by talking about veterans in need. So if someone listening to this or they know somebody that needs help or assistance, how can they get that?
The best part of what we do is provide that service directly. And they can go, again, to saluteheroes.org. Our phone number is there. If they go to saluteheroes.org, they can go to the homepage. They'll see Get Help. And if they have a direct emergency financial aid need, they can fill out an application that would come back to us. And they'll learn more about that later in the week when Whitney talks on emergency financial aid opportunities that are available to veterans, which I would encourage everybody to really take a really good look at.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Paul. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah.